Tonight on News 22, New Mexico lawmakers are passing some significant bills. A former New Mexico basketball player is battling adversity. And find out how your body burns energy. All that and more on News 22 Wednesday.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV News 22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Diana Castillo.
And I'm Amanda Adame.
Powerful winds are causing trouble all over New Mexico.
2 different tornadoes damaged several structures in southeast New Mexico. One of the tornadoes was outside the town of Dexter. The other was south of Loving. The twisters damaged at least 10 homes and injured several people.
I don't believe we've ever had a tornado hit the middle of Dexter. And so it's really surreal for for all of us, actually, and the amount of damage that it caused in the short amount of time that it was here.
None of the injuries were life-threatening. So far, there are no tornadoes hitting the borderland, but the high winds are causing chaos. The strong winds and blowing dust have caused numerous accidents and road closures. Trans Mountain Road in El Paso has been closed since yesterday after a semi-truck overturned. High winds prevented crews from getting up there. This was the second accident involving a semi yesterday. At I-10 and Vinton, a semi rolled and blocked the eastbound lanes for several hours. In Las Cruces, wind gusts up the San Agustin Pass have hit a high of 101 miles per hour. A high wind warning is in effect tonight until 9, but the National Weather Services expects the wind to diminish after sunset.
The New Mexico State men's basketball team is finally off the ground. The bus at the Pan Am wasn't going anywhere. The team was grounded earlier today after their flight out of El Paso was canceled due to high winds. They were able to book a new flight out of Las Cruces International that left at 6 this evening. The Aggies are headed to Las Vegas, Nevada for the Western Athletics Conference Tournament. The tournament starts tomorrow and continues on until Saturday. The team will play at 1 p.m. against Chicago State. While the Aggies eventually got into the air, the Boeing 737 is grounded. President Trump says the plane shouldn't fly until investigators figure out why 2 of the planes crashed recently. The latest was the crash of an Ethiopian airplaner that killed 157 people. The European Union and Canada had already grounded the planes.
These winds have definitely caused some chaos.
They have, and I don't know if they're sticking around, but Danielle can tell us if they are. Coming next.
This is Danielle Gutierrez with your current conditions. Now taking a look outside right now, we have partly cloudy skies with cooler temperatures at 53 degrees. And we do have those high winds coming out of the west at 38 miles per hour. If you've stepped outside the door, you know what I'm talking about. Our humidity is at 43%, a dew point at 30 degrees, and a barometer reading at 29.73 inches. Now taking a look at the weather we experienced today, we hit a high at 56 degrees, which is well below our average, which is normally at 70 degrees around this time of year. And we woke up to a cooler overnight low at 32 degrees. Now throwing it back to the year 1989, we hit record high temperatures at 90 degrees, and 20 years before that, record low temperatures at 23 degrees. We had some rain yesterday, but none today, leaving our yearly rainfall at 0.39 inches. Now, those are all the current conditions I have for you right now, but I'll be back with your national forecast. For now, back to the desk.
The New Mexico legislative session is quickly coming to a close, and lawmakers are passing some significant bills that could change the face of the state.
Many of those bills are on the way to the governor.
Among the most consequential is the Energy Transition Act. It requires the state to move electricity generation to renewable energy and zero-carbon resources. 50% renewable energy by 2030 and 80% by 2040 and zero-carbon resources by 2045. Speaker of the House Brian Egoff says this launches New Mexico to the forefront of clean energy in the United States with renewable energy. He says building the clean energy infrastructure could create 8,000 new jobs. Opponents of the bill say it could wreck the economy by not utilizing the state's vast fossil fuel reserves. The governor has already signed into law a bill that requires a background check for virtually all firearms sales in the state. Republicans want to put the law to a statewide vote. Officials in 25 of New Mexico's 33 counties say they will refuse to enforce the new law. New Mexico moved closer to joining a compact that would in effect nullify the Electoral College in presidential elections. If the governor signs it, New Mexico could join a compact that requires states to cast electoral votes for the national popular vote winner, and not necessarily the state winner in New Mexico. It would go into effect only when its membership represents at least 270 electoral votes. And a years-long effort by environmental groups paid off when lawmakers banned coyote killing contests. Ranchers argue the contests help manage coyotes that threaten livestock. Opponents say they're barbaric and ineffective. The bill is on the governor's desk. Alyssa Tejas, News 22.
Southern New Mexico's Organ Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument now has more protection. President Trump signed a bill yesterday that will create nearly 1/4 acres of wilderness in Doñana County inside the Organ Mountains Desert Peaks Monument. The wilderness designation is the highest level of federal protection. It means most mechanized travel, including vehicles and bicycles, are not allowed. It also creates the 2 wilderness areas in northern New Mexico. March is the month for female recognition and appreciation, and NMSU is recognizing female filmmakers in the Feminist Border Arts Film Festival.
I went to the festival over the weekend and met some of the creative minds behind one of these films. With popcorn in hand, people gathered at the Feminist Film Festival to watch films they wouldn't typically watch in a theater. Dr. Laura Williams has been a key player in putting the festival together.
I mean, we're always invested every year in sharing the works of independent filmmakers and student filmmakers and women filmmakers and LGBTQ plus filmmakers. And I think that independent filmmakers are looking for places to share their work with audiences. And so I always think there's going to be an interest in people sending stuff and an interest in sharing this stuff with our students in our community.
Mount Sterling, Kentucky, April 11th, 1917. Dear Chicago Defender.
One of the featured filmmakers is Trina Michelle Robinson, and her film about migration is more than just a story.
It's largely a composite of my ancestors who had migrated from Kentucky to Chicago, beginning in the 1860s, and then there was a second wave of people who had migrated to Chicago, and then in 1917, 1918, during the Great Migration. And so I just kind of created this fictional story talking about their migration and why they left Kentucky.
Regarding a recent coverage of the Northern Drive scheduled for May 15th.
This is her first film. It was mostly shot on her phone during a trip to where her ancestors were enslaved. The essence of the film is the trauma and memory that comes with migration. She hopes to continue capturing her family history in future projects. This is the festival's 4th year. All of the featured films will be available online at gender.nmsu/filmfestival.
And stay tuned, Danielle will be back with your national forecast.
But first, find out who has a faster metabolism, bigger or smaller people. More on that when News 22 continues.
Hi, I'm Robert Palacios, host of Fronteras, A Changing America. Each week on Fronteras, we discuss issues that affect our daily lives and our community. Supporting KRWG Public Media only takes a couple of minutes and goes a long way in ensuring that we will be here for you when you need us most. Pledge today by calling 1-888-922-5794 or go online to krwg.org. Thank you for your continued support.
Join KRWG Public Media for a coffee, talk, and visit in Truth or Consequences on Thursday, March 21st from 9 to 11 in the morning. We'll be at Passion Pie Cafe, located at 406 Main Avenue. Meet with KRWG staff to discuss public media in Truth or Consequences at Passion Pie Cafe. That's Thursday morning, March 21st from 9 to 11.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Wednesday,
where news matters. Hollywood star CEOs, elite college coaches, and college prep executives are just some of the people in trouble with the law.
They're accused of carrying out a nationwide scheme to help students gain admission to some of the nation's top colleges and universities. Kristen Holmes has the story.
Varsity Blues.
We're here today to announce charges in the largest college admissions scam ever prosecuted by the Department of Justice.
A massive FBI investigation coming to a head. The Justice Department charging 50 people in an elaborate scheme aimed at securing admission to prestigious universities.
We have charged 3 people who organized these scams, 2 SAT or ACT exam administrators, 1 exam proctor, 1 college administrator, 9 coaches at elite schools, and 33 parents.
Among the parents charged are several notable names, including CEOs, a fashion designer, and actresses Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman, who was arrested in Los Angeles. Much of the indictment revolves around a man named William Singer, the founder of a college preparation business. The scam worked in 2 ways, through test scores and athletics. In some cases, parents allegedly paying for third parties to take ACT and SAT exams on behalf of their children. In others, Singer contacted college coaches to help students gain admission as recruited athletes, regardless of their athletic ability.
For every student admitted through fraud, an honest, genuinely talented student was rejected.
In Washington, I'm Kristen Holmes reporting.
Take a close look inside your kitchen cabinet. The Hometown Food Company is recalling more than 12,000 cases of Pillsbury unbleached all-purpose flour. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says the flour might be contaminated with salmonella. There are no reports of related illnesses. Customers are advised to return the items to the place of purchase for refunds.
Ever wonder what makes your metabolism tick?
In today's Health Minute, Meredith Wood tells you how your body burns energy.
Who has the faster metabolism, the bigger person or the thinner person? Well, if you guess the thinner person, you would be wrong. In fact, the bigger your body, the more calories you're burning. That's because your metabolism has to work more in order to keep the body functioning and provide basic energy. That's referred to as your basal or your resting metabolic rate. Have you ever tried to lose weight and the first 10 or so pounds come off much faster than the rest? That's because as you lose mass, your metabolism doesn't need to work as hard as it did 10 pounds ago. Of course, this is a general explanation of how many calories your body is burning at rest. Several other things come into play, like your body composition. Lean mass, which includes muscle, burns calories faster than fat. So the more muscle you have, the more calories you're burning. And of course, we can't forget physical activity. Everything from walking to sprinting takes energy, helping us torch those calories. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
There are some super mosquitoes crawling around New Mexico. Scientists here at NMSU discovered mosquitoes in the northern part of the state that have a resistance to insecticide. Resistance is a serious problem because the mosquitoes carry yellow fever, and now they have to find a new way to control the mosquitoes. NMDOH state epidemiologist Michael Landon says New Mexico will increasingly be seeing mosquito-borne disease because of climate change. Former Aggie basketball player Shawn Harrington has faced hard times on the court.
News 22's Adan Contreras gives us the details of the tough times he faced.
Shawn Harrington faced some hardships on the court and off the court that some people would not have been able to overcome. Shawn Harrington played basketball for New Mexico State for 1 season in the mid-90s. He was ready for Division I.
I came from a junior college, so to be here on the Division I campus was an experience in itself. But I wouldn't change it for the world. I had a great year. I led the team in scoring, assists, and in steals.
Assistant coach Russ Bradford saw Shawn's potential.
Chicago kids are tough, sort of by definition. They're always sort of, gritty kids. It's a hard city, and usually the kids are, very physical and very aggressive. And Shawn was like that. But the difference with him was that as soon as he stepped off the court, he could completely turn it off.
The season was going great until an injury against San Jose State sidelined him for the rest of the season.
He was really our only point guard, and so we were actually off to a pretty good start. But once he went down, we really struggled after that. And so he was, he was the leader and the ball handler and the best passer, and so things didn't go well after that.
Head coach Neil McCarthy didn't think Shawn would return as the same player, so Shawn transferred to Northwest Missouri State.
The main thing was once I got hurt, things just kind of went south a little bit, but it still was a great experience on the whole.
And he still has great memories of the Pan American Center. And one of those memories was just a couple weeks ago when he was back in town to be recognized at an Aggie game.
13,000 people in there screaming, "Go Aggies!" Chanting your name and rooting for the guys every basket. I caught that flashback the Saturday night being in there, watching that game and just hearing the support that they get every game. So it was awesome.
But the story doesn't end there. Shawn faced a more serious tragedy after he went home to Chicago. We will have that part of the story tomorrow night. Now, back to the desk.
You know, we have definitely been feeling these winds.
We have, and I wonder how the rest of the country is doing. Danielle is next with the national forecast.
Now let's go ahead and take a look at our national forecast. Now on this map here, we can see a line of thunderstorms that will track eastward from far eastern Texas to the lower and mid-Mississippi Valley beginning tonight. Places like Nashville, Memphis, Lake Charles, and up here in Grand Island will possibly be facing some damaging wind gusts as well as tornadoes and some hail. Now for my next map, we're going to be looking at Winter Storm Ulmer, which is intensifying into a major plains blizzard with heavy snow and high winds. Now these areas will be facing some harsh conditions that will make travel nearly impossible. Now for my final map, we're going to be looking at the high wind gusts we were discussing earlier on in the show. Now of course this is affecting New Mexico, West Texas, and Central Plains. So of course this includes here in Las Cruces as well as our neighboring cities such as El Paso, Texas, and Albuquerque. Wind gusts in these areas can face up to 70 miles per hour, which can cause downed trees, power outages, and of course dangerous travel. So for the people of Las Cruces, try to stay safe and stay indoors. That's all I have for your national forecast. I'll be right back with your local forecast after this break.
Here and now, NPR News middays, weekday afternoons from noon to 2 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on KRWG.org.
I got a bouquet. When Annette Ontel passed away, she left a lot behind.
We're turning Grandma's house into an archaeological dig.
So ridiculous. 306 Hollywood on POV.
Monday at 8 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
Antiques Roadshow is visiting America's center of political power, Washington, D.C.
He won it at a card game in a saloon in Chicago.
I bought a couple of piles of stuff, and in one of the piles were these two.
Oh, okay.
Don't miss these appraisals and many more next time on Antiques Roadshow.
Monday at 7 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Wednesday. Let's go ahead and take a look at New Mexico now. Now temperatures have definitely dropped across the state. We can see Clovis here at 49 degrees, Santa Fe at a chilly 34, Farmington at 36, Socorro at 45, Roswell at 54, Las Cruces here at 53, and Deming at 36 degrees. Looking at the temperatures for tomorrow, they're still going to remain pretty cold. We have Clovis at 48 degrees, Roswell at a higher 55 degrees, Santa Fe at 41 degrees, Farmington at 45 degrees, Las Cruces here at 57 degrees, and Deming at 54 degrees. Looking at our neighboring cities, tonight Alamogordo will be experiencing some rain at 31, but it should clear up tomorrow with a high of 51 degrees. Now looking at Truth or Consequences, they're going to have partly cloudy skies tonight at 31 with a high tomorrow at 54. Now looking at Silver City, they're going to experience 22 degrees tonight for their overnight low, and tomorrow clear skies at 46 degrees. And here in Las Cruces, we're going to have clear skies tonight at 32 degrees with clear skies tomorrow at 57 degrees. Those are all the local temperatures I have for you right now, but I'll be back with your 5-day forecast later on in the show. For now, back to the desk.
Governor of California Gavin Newsom is putting a stop to the death penalty.
Here's Irene Romero with your Southwest Minute.
Newsom signed the executive order that will close the death chamber in San Quentin prison. The prisoners on death row will not be released and no sentences will be changed. California has the largest death row population and is the 4th state to freeze the practice. Arizona police are searching for a 24-year-old man who police say shot 3 men and kidnapped his girlfriend. Police say Edison Noyola stole a gun from his family and went searching for his girlfriend. He then went to an apartment where he shot 3 men and kidnapped his girlfriend. All 3 men are in critical condition. And according to a personal finance website, location is a big part in a person's happiness. The study analyzed more than 2.5 dozen happiness factors and location was one of them. The site ranked the happiest cities in the U.S. and Plano, Texas took the top spot. The second happiest city in the study was Irvine, California. Out of 182 cities, Detroit came in last. I'm Irene Romero with the Southwest Minute.
The NMSU men's basketball team is headed to the WAC tournament.
That's right, they're on the way right now, and Michaela's next to tell us more with sports.
Thanks, guys. Coming up in sports, the Aggies men's basketball team departs for Vegas and the women's basketball team heads to the semifinals. Don't go too far because News 22 Sports is next.
In this episode of Tastemakers, we are going to Houston to meet Kathleen Morgan, who is changing the food system one sweet bite at a time.
I chose to do frozen custards because of the wide range of products I could use to make them, the fact that milk was the primary ingredient and I could source that locally, and the creativity it allowed. I could express so many different ideas and flavors through them.
Monday at 2 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
Hi, I'm Lois Fossen, the executive producer of Independent Lens. We hope that with Independent Lens, you can meet people who help change your life by understanding their life a little better. And in that understanding, we can all become a little closer as a country and bridge the gaps that we seem to think are dividing us. If you value independent storytelling, call or go online and support your local PBS station now. Thank you.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. I'm Michaela Romero, and let's talk sports. As Amanda mentioned earlier, the New Mexico State men's basketball team was set to take off today to head to Las Vegas, Nevada for the quarterfinals to take on Chicago State and defend their Western Athletic Tournament title. But with this wind, the men have not, well, they did leave. They're on their way now. The flight they were supposed to take got canceled, and now the men will be taking a charter flight. Their flight will be a direct flight out of Las Cruces International Airport. Fortunately, with the change in travel plans, the men will still be able to make the game. The game will tip off tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the Orleans Arena. The New Mexico State women's basketball team is already in Las Vegas. Today, they played the Chicago State Cougars. The Aggies defeated the Cougars with a final score of 90-54, and they now head to the semifinal game. The semifinal game will be Friday at 1 p.m. at the Orleans Arena, and the team they will play is to be determined. And speaking of basketball, there was a big high school state championship game today. The Oñate Knights took on the Cleveland Storm in Albuquerque today, but they failed to succeed. The score was 52-84. The New Mexico State women's swim and dive team wrapped up their season with a strong finish, getting second at WAC championships to Northern Arizona. But not all the women are finished yet with their seasons. Raina Brommer and McKenna Hoff competed in the NCAA championships yesterday. Brommer placed 22nd out of 57 divers, and Hoff wrapped up her Aggie career with the 35th place showing. Brommer is not done yet and wraps up her season today. hopefully finishing her season out strong. And that's a wrap for the season, as the women will be saying goodbye to their graduating seniors. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Danielle will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, find out how a newsroom in Mississippi got batty. More on that when News 22 returns.
KRWG-TV's public file is available at 2915 McPhee Circle in Milton Hall, Room 117 on the campus of New Mexico State University. Regular business hours are from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 1 to 5 p.m. weekdays. You can also view the file online at publicfiles.fcc.gov.
Movable Feast moves into a brand new season.
It's local halibut.
We made our version of porchetta. I'm Pete Evans, traveling coast to coast.
I'm Michelle Bernstein, dishing it up in the dairylands of Wisconsin.
We're throwing a party.
And you're invited.
Movable Feast with Fine Cooking Magazine.
Sunday at 4 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
How do they make tortilla chips?
2,000 to 2,100 pounds of corn.
It's all right, he's going to spit at you.
I don't want him to spit at me.
These hold about 1 million pounds of rice.
Saturday morning at 8.
Let's take a look at our top stories. New Mexico lawmakers are passing some important laws as the legislation session comes to an end. Adon showed us an up-close look into the adversity of one New Mexico State basketball player. And we learned how our body burns calories to make energy.
Things often get a little batty inside newsrooms, sometimes literally. An actual bat appeared in the WCBI newsroom in Columbus, Mississippi, Tuesday evening. The winged creature zoomed around the building before getting trapped in one of the station's conference rooms. The staffers got to get the bat and release it outside, but not before being treated to the heebie-jeebies.
So let's go ahead and take a look at our 5-day forecast. Now this coming week we're going to have highs in the mid to upper 50s and lows in the 30s, which is definitely colder than last week.
Well, that's all we have for you tonight. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.
Good night. Good night.
This news brief in Español is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Hola y bienvenidos a este breve informativo de Noticias 22. Francisco Soto con ustedes. El estado de Nuevo México no es conocido como una parte donde los tornados suelen pasar, pero ayer una tormenta pasó por el estado de Nuevo México, causando condiciones peligrosas en el estado. 2 tornados causaron daños en el sureste de Nuevo México. Uno de los tornados se registró a la afuera de Dexter, Nuevo México, y el otro al sur de Loving, Nuevo México. Al momento no se han reportado lesiones por causa de los tornados. La fugata que se registró cerca de las montañas Organ hace 2 semanas está 100% controlada. Según la Oficina de Administración de Tierras de las Cruces, lo que causó la llama no ha sido definido, pero se cree que fue por causa humana. Ya no hay signos de fuego activo en las montañas y las carreteras ya no están bloqueadas. El día de ayer les mencionamos que el equipo varonil de baloncesto de NMSU saldría hoy a Las Vegas para competir en el tornado de WAC. Pero no pudieron salir ya que el clima no permitió a los aviones despegar del aeropuerto de El Paso. El equipo está haciendo planes alternativos para quizás poder salir a Las Vegas esta tarde. También el día de hoy el equipo femenil de baloncesto jugó contra Chicago State en los cuadros de final en el torneo de WAC. Los Aggies se llevaron la victoria con un marcador final de 90-54. Eso es todo de mi parte. Para Noticias 22, Francisco Soto.